Kia ora tātou, ngā mihi kia koutou, big mihi out to everybody, big mihi to Nelson. Thank you to the festival for inviting me, and particularly to Puka Puka Talks and to everyone there. I know it's not easy times at the moment. My name's Hinemoana, and I'd like to read some excerpts of a piece I wrote for the spin-off website, and it's called Letter from Aurelia. The full piece is online too if you'd like to go and read the rest of it. Not compulsory. I go to water for healing. I go to water for solace and comfort and for reconnecting with what I'm made of. Of course, in Aotearoa, it's always been the sea. The dog beach in Lyle Bay, where you can combine your pet's exercise with a fairly robust exfoliation for any skin that happens to be out in the wind and sand. Or the steep slopes of bright white streaked with grey at Matata Beach, 5 minutes from my dad's home, where you can mihi to whakaari and motohora with hardly a turn of your head. Or Back Beach in Nelson, with its hurt your eyes blue skies. It's always been the sea. To practice karanga, to bless pounamu, to throw 637 sticks for my dog to fetch and watch him come out, sneezing seawater and panting with joy. My partner Claude's mother was told that her cancer was back at the beginning of last year, 2020, and she spent that year in and out of hospital for chemotherapy and surgeries. Consequently, all of us who had contact with her had to live in a much more strict version of quarantine or lockdown than even the local health ministry was recommending at the time. We were essentially isolated from anyone who wasn't her for quite a long time. And she got better, then she got worse, and then she got better. And then on the first day of 2021, we got the call from Claude's sister that she'd been admitted to hospital again. And the prognosis was bad. 2 months later, she died. We were incredibly lucky to be able to be with her for the few weeks leading up to that, and also during her final breaths. Michaela Kempen was 57 when she died, a vivacious and passionate visual artist and therapist, a force of nature whose presence and style prompted the priest at her funeral to comment, "If I may be allowed to say this as a priest, Michaela was a very beautiful woman." She's buried now in a cemetery close to their family home under a rough-cut apricot and pearl-coloured piece of marble with an image of her beloved Cologne Cathedral etched on it, all perfect and utterly, totally wrong. The most extraordinary and sustaining thing that's happened since this whole thing began, and perhaps one of the most important things in my life to date, has been my involvement with the repatriation of 2 toi moko from German institutions late last autumn. The usual Te Papa Tongarewa team of experts and elders from their Karanga Aotearoa Karanga Rekohu program obviously couldn't travel at that time, but these 2 handovers were already quite a long way in motion. So my friend and colleague, the inimitable Te Arikirangi Mamaku, who facilitates the program in this part of the world, invited me to be the other half of a 2-person repatriation team, like a couple of COVID stand-in kaumātua, if you like, and we would get these ancestors back home. It seemed like a very steep learning curve, and it was. It was a big undertaking, but with the help of the New Zealand Embassy in Berlin, the understanding and cooperation of the 2 museums involved, and a truckload of hand sanitizer and 1,000 medical masks, we made it happen. Seeing those crates leaving the building for the last time, knowing they were going back to Aotearoa, was the strangest combination of joy, grief, and yes, envy. I was jealous that these 250-year-old tupuna were going home, and I wasn't. What a time to be alive, eh? I got more closely acquainted with the river during Berlin's first lockdown in March 2020. On the days I could, Claude and I would walk a path along the Spree, a path that took us an hour or two. We would pause on bridges or park benches, letting the river help us breathe. Some months later, in autumn, when it was getting colder but it was actually safer to meet people outside our household, a university friend and I hired a double kayak and paddled the canals of Kreuzberg and Mitte. Like me, this friend is a water sprite, and the two of us were almost in tears to be able to be on the water, not just walking or sitting beside it. We even made it out from the canals to the Spree proper at one time, and it was huge, choppy, much wider than I expected it to be, windy. It felt like the sea. Tēnā rā tātou. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the festival that you can enjoy.